Hello, BookTube. I come to you on yet another bleak and barren Sunday, and this one is worse than most because this week was more productive than most, well over 100 books, which makes it extra bitter to get none today. So I thought an extra strong remedy was required, something more than a normal tag. And fortunately, I have one right to hand. I asked for questions to celebrate my 500 subscriber milestone on BookTube, and I thought I'd read off some of the questions and give some of the answers. Love from CL asked, what non-book related jobs have you had in your life? This actually took me a minute to think about it, because I have been a bookseller forever. I have been an editor 3 or 4 times. I've been a reviewer, first for a long time, then with a long pause, now for 10 years again. I've been a ghostwriter for books. I'm well paid to do it. I was the buyer for the new libraries of 2 friends of mine. You name it. But non-book related, the closest I could come up with is that when I was traveling, whenever I could, as often as I could, I would offer to crew my passage on sailing vessels, or even, engine-powered vessels. I'm fairly handy on the open ocean. And so I guess that would count as a job, because, of course, you can't not do it once you've signed on. So that would be it. A deckhand, a cabin boy. Let's see here. Christine at Kizzy Reach, a wonderful channel. You should all subscribe to it. Same thing with Love from CL. These people make good channels. Have you always been a fast reader, or did you teach yourself? Notice the alternative that she leaves out. I have not always been a fast reader, and I did not teach myself. I was taught by a small religious fanatic group into whose clutches I fell at an early age, and thank God for it. Let's see here. Digiterrible asks, how have you changed from adolescence? I know this will seem hard to believe, but I'm even sexier. He also asks, what was your childhood dream job? Had nothing to do with books, I assure you. It would have been blood-drenched. And also, can you tell us about the writers you've met? And that's a whole other video, isn't it? It's a long one, too. I've met quite a few writers in my life and helped quite a few writers to be writers. Because sometimes what you really need, no matter how deep your talent runs, is a cheerleader, someone who believes in you in the darkest moment when you don't believe in yourself. And I specialize in that. It's a canine trait. Through the Enchanted Portal, went nuts with questions. Wanted to know, where have I traveled in the world? I have traveled a lot. I've traveled almost everywhere there is to travel in this world. The easiest shorthand that I have found to help you in wondering if I've been someplace is to take the question, have you ever been? And if the thing that follows that question is not Australia or New Zealand, then the answer is yes. No matter what. So if you live in Ohio and you want to know, has Steve ever been to Ohio? Since Ohio is not Australia and New Zealand, the answer is yes. If you live in extreme northern Finland and you want to know if Steve has ever been to extreme northern Finland, ask if it is Australia and New Zealand. If it isn't, then the answer is yes. That tends to save me time. What's my favorite Jane Austen novel? That would be Pride and Prejudice. Sorry, it's predictable, but when faced with perfection, there is no argument. For me, anyway. I know that Emma has a lot of fans. Have you read any good books about Native Americans? I've read quite a few. I think my favorite, just for its sheer anger, just beautifully expressed anger, is a book called, it's by Dale Van Every. The name is slipping my mind at the moment. Isn't that terrible? Disinherited. Disinherited is the name of it, and it's quotable on every page. Not easy reading, though, and it's not about their culture. It's about their systematic betrayal at the hands of the United States government. What kind of music do you like? Well, I like classical music, but it's worse than that, I'm afraid. I like Baroque music. I like Locatelli, Galuppi, Gimignani. I like what classical music fans tend to think of as elevator music. I think it's lovely. And what is your favorite childhood memory? Well, all of my childhood memories involve dogs, so you can piece it together. Or that it would be having my face licked, or running, or snuggling my face into fur on a cold night, or something like that. Uh, then Sue from Sue's Book Nook, a wonderful channel. I'm sure you're all subscribed. Have you always been a reader? No. I hated and mocked readers when I was young until I fell into the hands of a religious sect that taught me to use my mind like a muscle. And until I came under the wing of a wonderful, gentle teacher who showed me that books were magic, the only true magic in the world, he said, and I tend to agree with him. And she also asked, what's your favorite childhood book? I'm afraid there wasn't one. All the shared vocabulary that all of you have on BookTube of, going back to your earliest memories, and I just don't have that. I didn't read books when I was a child. I've had to go back and reread childhood books. Beck at Beck's Books asks, how do you retain all that you read? Is it a trick or is it natural? Notice the alternative she leaves out. It's neither a trick nor is it natural. It was taught to me. It was hammered into me on pain of my mortal soul and on threat of hellfire, which certainly made it take, and I'm not begrudging the skills that I got from the Jesuits, not at all. Prezik 02, I think, is how it's pronounced. What are your favorite countries? Do I have any thoughts about Central Europe? Well, my favorite country, I'm afraid, is America, followed by Ireland. But Central Europe, absolutely. I spent time in Prague and loved it. I've spent a lot of time in Rotterdam and loved it. Not maybe so much the food, but I've been to Liesen. I spent time in Austria, and was just boggled by how beautiful it is and by how nice the people are. That's the thing about Austrians. Just there's this crust of defensiveness initially towards strangers, and once you get past that, it's amazing. The warmth, the hospitality, the humor. I've noticed that in a lot of countries. That's actually true in Japan as well. Once you get past that crust, you are a member of the family, and it's incredible. It's an incredible feeling. And we'll finish up for now with Lil Koala Books, who asks, do you speak any foreign languages? I do. I speak a wide variety of foreign languages, and I also read more than I speak, because I'm able to read Latin and ancient Greek, which are no longer spoken. And would I be interested in making a video about being a professional book reviewer? Intimations along these lines came up a couple of times. I find it hard to believe that such a thing would be interesting, but I'll happily do it. If it interests the rest of you, I'll happily do it. And that's it for now. That will calm my unease on a barren Sunday. Questions about myself to celebrate a milestone. And I've already decided that when I have my 1,000 subscriber milestone, if that ever happens, I know just what I'm going to do. I gave up too quick on the idea of giveaways. Why shouldn't you all get books? After all, it's my postal bill we're talking about. If I'm okay with it, all the rest of you should be okay with it. But we'll save that for another day. For now, thank you again very much, BookTube.